Hi everyone! Have you seen some of these designs before? I'm sure if you have, you will remember them for a long time. All Alexander McQueen's creations have this shocking factor, this unpredictability that won't let you forget them even if you don't really like them. Alexander McQueen was born in 1969 in South London. When he was less than a year old, the McQueen family moved further east to a terrace in Stratford. He was the youngest of 6 children, having 3 sisters and 2 brothers. His father was a cab driver, and his mother stayed at home with the children until Lee was 16, after which she taught evening classes in genealogy and social history. She traced her own family heritage back 250 years, and the designer never ceased to be interested in his own genealogy. He attended a carpenter's primary school, and he was a member of the Young Ornithologists Club of Great Britain. He would climb after school onto the rooftop of a building close to his home to watch the birds and draw the clothes they inspired him. He started drawing at 3 and continued doing that all his life. He also started reading books on fashion when he was 12. But this was not his only interest. He also loved gospel singing, and he took classes in synchronized swimming. Once, he miscalculated doing a back dive, landed on the concrete and shattered his front teeth that he had not fixed properly until much later. He left school at the age of 16. His mother heard on TV about the need of apprentices on London's Savile Row and convinced her son to apply for a job. So he started working under Cornelius O'Callaghan, one of the most respected coat makers at that time, at Anderson and Shepherd, who worked by appointment to the aristocracy. He stayed for 2 years, was very focused at first, but as he learned everything that he could learn there a year earlier than expected, he became bored and would turn up less frequently. He then moved to Jeeves and Hawkes, where he worked on military tailoring. He stayed for a little more than a year and moved on to work on theatrical costumes, cutting clothes for major London shows. Before long, he went on to work for Koji Tatsuno, but when he went bankrupt, he moved to Romeo Gigli in Milan, with whom he said he learned the power of the press. Back in London, McQueen went to see the founder of the postgraduate fashion course at Central St. Martin's, hoping to get a job teaching pattern cutting. She didn't have one for him, but seeing the talent he had, she convinced him to join the course. He graduated in 1992 and based his degree collection on Jack the Ripper. This collection introduced iconic designs such as the 3-point origami frock coat and his bumsters, pants that sat very low on the hips, presumably, as Lee said, to elongate the figure. Isabella Blow, a freelance stylist, attended his show. She bought every piece and immediately became his unofficial PR representative, stylist and muse. The documentary McQueen and I, by the way, focused on the relationship between the two of them. I watched it already twice, and I would really recommend it if you're interested in knowing more about Isabella McQueen, or both of them. McQueen's early runway collections developed his reputation for controversy and shock tactics, and here the title of L'Enfant Terrible and the hooligan of English fashion. After his graduation, it was not until the 5th collection, Highland Rape, that the attention he received started rising exponentially. The liberal press accused him of being a misogynist, but McQueen defended the show as a reference to the massacre of the Scottish Highlands at the hands of the British. Very few portraits of him were in circulation at that time. He was living and working in a small basement and receiving social security benefits, so he did not want his picture to be published for fear that he would be recognized and have it revoked. By 1996, he had come to the attention of the CEO of the French luxury goods conglomerate LVMH, who appointed him chief designer at Givenchy. He succeeded John Galliano, who moved on to work for Dior. His shows were becoming more like art installations, and though the staff backstage was normally overwhelmed by them, only one show made him cry. It was number 13. In it, a former ballerina was dancing on a revolving section while her white dress was spray painted by robots that came from an Italian car factory. In the Atom collection of this year participated Paralympics champion Amy Malins, wearing hand-carved wooden prostheses designed for her. His collections were attracting lots of attention, but his clothes wouldn't really sell. So because of this, Givenchy would put a lot of pressure on him to create with a more commercial mindset. In 2000, McQueen sold a 51% share of his business to the Gucci Group, which offered him creativity freedom as long as he also created clothes that sold. Though Alexander McQueen, the label, from this moment on expanded on to menswear, accessories, fragrance, he continued to be most passionate about his shows. In fact, McQueen's most celebrated and dramatic catwalk show was his 2001 Spring-Summer collection named Voss. For this one, McQueen seated the audience around a giant mirrored cube. The show was late on purpose, and the audience was forced to stare at themselves. Finally, the cube lit up, revealing a mental hospital setting. The people could see in, but the models couldn't see out. There was another cube inside this big one, and at the end of the show, the glass walls of it fell and shattered the ground and revealed a naked model reclining on a couch and breathing through a gas mask. As time passed, he became more reserved both personally and professionally, and it was not uncommon for him to cancel at the last minute and stay home instead. In 2007, after a long struggle with physical and mental illness, Isabella Blow committed suicide. Alexander McQueen would dedicate the show La Dame Bleue to her. After this, McQueen lived only long enough to complete 4 more collections, which a lot of people say are among of his greatest. The Girl Who Lived in the Tree was based on an elm in the garden of his country house. Natural Distinction and Natural Selection was a commentary on the lack of considerations humans have for the environment. The Horn of Plenty was a satire of the fashion industry. And finally, McQueen's collection, Plato's Atlantis, was, he said, Darwin's theory of evolution in reverse. It depicted a time when the ice cap will melt and we will be forced to live again under the sea. On the 2nd of February in 2010, his mother died from cancer, and just 9 days later, he took his own life. He was 40 at the time. The collection he was working on at that moment was finished by Sarah Burton and his team. And a final outfit, covered entirely by golden feathers, recalled McQueen's fascination with winged creatures. He has tattooed on his upper right arm a quote from Shakespeare: "Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind." He practiced yoga and meditation. The Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City hosted an exhibition of McQueen's work in 2011 called Savage Beauty. This is the book for that exhibition, and it's really amazing. So I would really recommend it to you. His achievement in fashion earned him 4 British Designer of the Year awards, as well as the CFDA's International Designer of the Year award in 2003. The music video by Björk, Alarm Call, was directed by him, and he also designed the dress she's wearing in Pagan Poetry. McQueen was openly gay and said he realized his sexual orientation when he was 6 years old. He informed journalists that during the time at Anderson as Shepard, he had scrawled obscenities into the lining of a jacket for the Prince of Wales. The company called back any piece that he had worked on for that client, but nothing was ever found.
And it's really boring. It just happens to be Prince Charles's jacket I was working on at the time. And so I draw this big willy on it.
He said once, in fashion, the show should make you think. There's no point in doing it if it's not going to create some sort of emotion. He also said, you've got to know the rules to break them. That's what I'm here for, to demolish the rules, but to keep the tradition. And that's it. I hope you learned something new about Alexander McQueen with this video. I'm by no means an expert on fashion, art or whatever, but I really admire Alexander McQueen's work, so yeah, I thought filming this video would be fun. Please let me know what you think about this. If you have some suggestions, I'd love to hear some feedback. And yeah, hope you have a great day and see you. Keep learning.